Welcome back to the final chapter of Onikakushi-hen for Higurashi when they cry. So yeah, I'm gonna finish off the chapter, and when I do, I'm gonna start on Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 in tribute to Stan Lee. Rest in peace, man. So yeah, let's finish this off for good this time. I can have the lights on again up until I finish Ultimate Alliance 2 and go back to Watanagashi-hen. I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't get any sleep. I tried to stay awake all night, but there were definitely gaps in my memory. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake in a panic all night. I spent all night hugging the metal bat and sat on the top of the futon I used to barricade my door. Waiting, watching just in case someone tried to break in through my window. If I left this spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attack me. Someone would break through the glass and attack me. Oh. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break through the glass and attack me. And hello to everyone in the stream. Welcome and enjoy the show. I tried telling myself I was just being paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it. It was so much better to just stay awake. At some point, that endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside, but that was it. It wasn't so much the morning as it was just the sun simply risen. I snuck a peek through the curtains. Rena was gone. I couldn't see her anywhere, no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I feel like I was sleeping at the moment. I still had time. But I needed to make my own breakfast, so I better get started soon. Skipping school was also an option. With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable. So staying holed up in here was probably my safest option. But staying here wouldn't solve anything. Oishi-san wouldn't help me without cold hard evidence. Neither he nor my parents. So unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing, not muching you, Gabe, and regained my senses. Calm down, Keiji Meibara. Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. But that didn't mean I was just going to twiddle my thumbs. I needed to avoid that and secure irre- irrefutable evidence. Take note of the plates of any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, and thanks for the cheers, Gabe, really appreciate that. Now it looks like Maroon has some competition. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and face. And not much either. I wasn't just protecting myself. I was preparing myself to turn their attack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when two samurais were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas. I was not at a disadvantage. I would have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. Alright, let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's bat. He was the only partner I could count on. Satoshi, please lend me your strength, and entrust your dying regrets since you were probably murdered. I'll make sure I dispel them. With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. It was still early. Of course, I was going to my school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Rena or Mion, I needed to leave now. The shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the entryway. Right. I meant to clean that up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents came back and saw this while I was at school, I would never hear the end of it. Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned up right now, and considering what would happen if I ran into Rena or Mion, it wouldn't be too late to clean up after I got back home. Making extra certain that the doors were locked, I left the house. Oh God. I know this song is peaceful, but that's when things are about to go down song. My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today I was going to school in a tracksuit. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today was different from yesterday. I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed. Oh, that perfect foreshadowing, honestly. Keep your guard up, Keiji Mebata. The one who gets to decide if today is my last is me. I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was my natural routine. After a while, Rena arrived at school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Rena said nothing about last night, as if it never happened, but I could see that those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers. I just heard her telling Satoko and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen. Though it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Oishi-san shared about Rena's incident before her transferred played vividly in my mind. You know, like how he jammed her fingers into the door? Now that I knew about it, I couldn't even dream of Rena as a cute ideal girl. Hey Chan, I know you're still aiming for the nationals. It was Mion. I had already sensed her approach, so I wasn't that surprised. Oh, Mion, if you understand, then leave me alone. I'm busy practicing. I gave her a curt reply without my usual jokes. Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tacitly keeping Mion from getting closer. Hey, Kei-chan, take it easy. I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest. Homeroom's not that far off, is it? Just let me finish practicing. I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal. Hey, Chan, when did you get into baseball? Just recently. Recently, you mean yesterday? Don't ask if you already know. Oh dear, that's a very unsportsmanlike reply. You're distracting me. Go away. I ignored Mion and kept swinging. Normally she'd get mad or bored and leave if someone gave her the cold shoulder like this. But Mion just stood there waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility. But we were at school in plain view. I doubt she'd suddenly attack me here. And thanks for your cheers again, Gabe. I really appreciate that. Or was that too naive? Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out. You need me for something, right? What is it? Blood poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. At this rate, I might not be able to move as needed when the time came. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina in addition to the excuse for carrying the bat around me. Well, it's nothing important. If you're tired, I can ask again later. Now it's fine. I'm only dealing with you right now because I judge this situation to be safe. Talking to you alone and away from others, that's out of the question. Well, Mion was uncharacteristically trying to choose her words. But unlike Oishi-san, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Hang on. Checking if my mics are on. Okay. Mion was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say. But when she gave a hearty laugh to break herself out of that mire. This old man's just no good at this stuff. Having a poor vocabulary hurts. And congrats on leveling up, Gabe. What's this all of a sudden? If you have something to say, just say it. Alright. Stop it! Stop that swinging. She cut straight to the point. Her request was so frank, but I didn't understand it for a moment. I had already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I? I just stopped, didn't I? That's not what I meant. I want today to be the last day you swing that bat. I'm sorry. It took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with swinging a bat? Why? It's none of your business, is it? I'm not bothering anyone, am I? You are. Mion said it flat out. This didn't make any sense, and that was really irritating. When did I bother anybody? Mion was at a loss for words, but she did finally made up her mind and spoke. Though she stuttered as she said it. Because Kei-chan, that's someone else's bat. You shouldn't borrow it without permission. It was left behind by a student who transferred, right? I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it. Huh? Yeah, he transferred. Mion grew uncharacteristically flustered. That made it all too clear that his transfer was a lie. But strange, isn't it? For the older brother to transfer by himself while his little sisters stayed behind? Mion couldn't hide her reaction as my words shook her up. Kei-chan, you knew? Satoshi Hojo? Satoko's older brother, right? The one demoned away last year? Unable to respond to that, Mion fell silent. Rena asked the same thing. Why did you start swinging that bat? She told me Satoshi did the same thing. Practicing his swings right before he went missing. So is this some kind of omen for Oyashiro-sama's curse? Shh! Mion panicked and looked around. Please, Kei-chan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly. I don't believe in him, but the others very much do. Rena especially. Dangerously so? Anyway, you're scaring everyone. If you're just fooling around, then stop it. You have to stop acting like Satoshi. I was the one who was scared. Hi Cam, how are you doing tonight? Who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place? And thanks for the cheers, Cam. I really appreciate that. Or host, I mean. But it still unsettled me that my actions were overlapping with Satoshi's. It would be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decision. But yeah, how are you doing tonight? I'll say this now. I don't know anything about Satoshi. After all, you didn't tell me anything about him. We didn't mean to hide it. You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you? That's because we didn't want to, you didn't want to scare me? That's your reason for leaving me out? No, we didn't mean to. Ah, very nice. Good luck. Mion, I asked you directly if something happened at the dam, didn't I? You told me nothing happened? When someone was dismembered and murdered? You lied to me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you. Friends don't hide from each other. Things from each other, right? I can relate, Keiji, to be honest. I was wondering where you went, Maroon. Isn't that right? Then you all aren't my friends. Kei-chan, Mion looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I never could have imagined Mion acting like this. Oh, by the way, those get well mochis you brought the other day, they were good. I thought I was going to bleed. Who did it? You or Rena? Me. She admitted it so easily. I couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was. You could have killed me. How could you do that to a friend? But it was just a little prank. Oh my god, all I could think it was just a prank, bro. Mion gave me a worried smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me. Indeed. But someone's more evil than her. You think that was a prank? I grabbed Mion by the collar and lifted her up. That wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce in a piece of mochi. It was a needle, a sewing needle. If I had swallowed that, it would lodge in my throat. What did she think would happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Mio Sonosaki I knew anymore. Anyways, you're not my friend. There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend. I see. You might need to refresh it or reset your phone, Lisa. So just leave me alone for a while. Got it. Mio wasn't replying anymore. It won't be that easy to erase me, you know. The cops have been onto you from the start. So don't think you can make me disappear like you did Satoshi. I said it clearly. This was my declaration of war. Hopefully it will work this time, Lisa. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, and congrats on leveling up. I think you guys are suspect in the previous incidents too. I also know you spent a lot of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement. Don't think you can hide it from me. Got that? How did you know? Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That's what I heard the principal ringing the bell for school. It was the time for morning homeroom. Let's go. The class representative needs to be there, right? At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks. You're so mean, Kei-chan. I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty. I'm going. Don't be late for homeroom. I left Mion still shaking as I turned around to head for the entrance. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a faint mutter as she was speaking to herself. Jeez. So that's how it is. Huh? She wasn't saying it to anyone. Oh, okay. It was Mion talking to herself, but it was a sobbing voice that had a kind of a giddy, cursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her. So it was that, he leaked it all to Kei-chan. She balled up her fist as her tears continued to rain down. She glared at the spot at the ground with a terrifying yet smiling face, cursing. A chill ran down my spine from that demonic expression. His transformation, Mion's transformation, was different from Rena's. I should have killed him back then. He forgot the mercy I showed him just because he was going to retire this year. Retiring this year? Was he talking about Oishi-san? I'm going to kill that man. Urgh. It felt like the air itself had begun distorting. With Mion at the center, the world had begun to twist and spiral. Bending, whirling. This was the first time I'd experienced such a visage. Rise! Attention! Mion made up an excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contacts. After that, neither Rena nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. Neither Satoko nor Rena-chan looked at me in the eye. Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The month since I transferred in had been almost too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling, but today it felt oddly refreshing. The bell rung, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense yet so dull. Since it caused a lot of unpleasant memories, if they asked me to join into the club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home without even looking at them. I stuffed my contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped around my hand, around Satoshi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the entrance. That's weird. I was assailed by both exhausting relief that nothing had happened today and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. But deep down inside me, far beneath in the recess of my heart, achingly I knew. Welcome back, Gabe. This will be the last day of this cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be. Whether it will be the end as I wish it to end, or if it would end as I hope it wouldn't. Regardless of my current state, there was something more important than how things would end. There was something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose? The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me my answers. Or could it be that the cries of the Higurashis were desperately trying to tell me something? Somewhere mixed in with their shrieks, Tometake-san and Satoshi were probably trying to tell me something. I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When I do realize it, I wonder if I will be amongst the Higurashis fruitlessly crying to the next victim. Glancing down at my feet, I saw a Higurashi on its back, spasming weakly. Bwee, bwee, bwee. There was still much of the summer left, yet this one was already chirping its last song. I couldn't tell what it was saying no matter how hard I listened, but if I had to try to listen what it was desperately trying to tell me. Oh boy, here we go. At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once, as if they huddled. Oh god, always the noise. They huddled together, fearing that the person who brought them their dreadful fate had arrived. There was no mistaking it. A presence was approaching. The sound of footsteps was almost non-existent. If the Higurashis hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place was a rush of adrenaline, sharpened all of my senses. I was just barely able to hold back. I know, right? To hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. It wasn't something I could hold back for long. But in this moment, when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly amongst the trees, waiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get him to pass by me? No, since I was able to hear their footsteps, they were probably able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell that I hid myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me, was it Rena just like yesterday? If it was Rena, I wouldn't hold back. I could just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. If it isn't Rena, it would depend on how they acted, I guess. The footsteps ampled closer. I swallowed, wiped my clammy hands on my pants, and readjusted the grip of my bat. I could just tell that the fear I had beaten back once and was now waiting for for another opening to come at me. Who could it be? I peeked out from behind the tree and that person was following me. My imagination hadn't led me astray. It was Rena. There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew. That feeling left me in an instant. This wasn't the same Rena that I knew. Her eyes are dark and lifeless. Oh my god, those eyes again. But her mouth appeared as if it was carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. Oh my god, that color change. And right in her hand was an axe. I hid myself behind a tree and recalled that unbelievable sight I saw. What was that just now? Just now, the embodiment of terror laid near? Oh yeah, indeed, Gabe! Baseball practicing my swing, there were a ton of excuses for me carrying a bat. But for that axe, there was no excuse for that. An axe just like that? Hey, Eiji-kun, are you playing hide and seek? I wonder. My heart was pounding. Alright, is it working now, Maroon? Hard enough that I had trouble breathing. With little composure I had to hold on was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken hold. Jesus, what's going on with the update now? Yeah, indeed. Not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was here. And thanks for the cheers, Maroon. I really appreciate that. Were you trying to scare me? I wonder. I decided that it would be better to reveal myself now, since there was still space between us than to allow Rena come any closer. I adjusted my grip on the bat again. Thanks for cheers as always, Maroon. Really appreciate that. Ready myself mentally and step out from behind the tree. Oh wait, I gotta do that. I found you, Eiji-kun. Rena was pleased that she found me, exhalating a mysterious giggle. I gotta be right back. I gotta get a glass of water real quick. I wonder that too, Gabe, and I'm back. Rena was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me she was displeased by the fact that I had been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty. My legs, they began to quiver. I have such a horrible habit of screenshotting this on stream. God. This is terrifying. Those eyes, they were just so empty, my legs began to quiver. Oh, not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of vicious, hot, and cold substance began spreading around. Exactly, Gabe. If I allowed it, that substance would slip out of my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs in my body. Not good. Not good. I'll be devoured by Rena at this rate. Strike back. Don't lose. What is it? I blustered, hiding all behind my bravado. But Rena didn't flinch one bit. Just the same as Keiji-kun. I'm heading home. Then what about that axe? Then what about that bat you're holding? I'm practicing my swing. Then I'm treasure hunting. It makes you wonder if he's just being paranoid. Now that you think about it, Rena gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon. Treasure hunting? At the treasure mountain near the dam site, I found a new cute thing, so I needed to dig it out. How could I believe that? You wouldn't believe it, would you? Rena's laugh was obviously very strange. I'd seen Rena's transformation many times before, but that one today was completely different. I could already envision it from the anime now. Like her mischievous tone and the shrewd glint in her eyes. It wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say. It was just so obvious. Wait, Keiji-kun. Oh my god. Why am I trying to attempt to replicate that laugh in the anime? Rena didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. Whenever Rena got too close to me, I would scurry away, then turn back towards her. The cycle repeated over and over. No matter how would you look at it, I was trying to escape. I was being chased by Rena. I was being chased by Rena, was trying to escape. Just don't follow me! And thanks for your cheers as always, Maroon. Really appreciate that. I can't do that. My house is this way after all. Actually, better one. Okay, there we go. When I met Rena on this road yesterday, hear that video you showed. Oh, that Jingle Bell remix. She cowered and trembled as she followed my commands. But today was different. Rena didn't show a hint of trepidation. Hang on. Actually, wasn't I the one who was cowering? If the way home for Rena was me and the same, yeah, indeed. Okay, I'm done. That's fine. I just changed my route. If the way home for Rena and me was the same, that's fine. I changed my route. That would work out, wouldn't it? I turned onto the side street, I'd never been down and knew little about. But Rena saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home and down the street you normally do. Why would you follow me down this little weird side road? Those thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth. Why are you following me? The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror. Because I want to talk to Keiji-kun. Keiji-kun wants to talk to Rena too, doesn't he? Doesn't he? I don't want to talk about anything with you. That's a lie, isn't it? There's something you want to ask me about, isn't there? Not at all. I have nothing to talk to you about. That's a lie, isn't it? It's not a lie. Lies! Oh, hey, I didn't say Usoda this time. I missed it again. But hey, at least I got the school uniform this time. Rena's scream echoed, startling some nearby birds into flight. I cringed in fear. The only other thing I could do was increase my pace. But let's talk, Keiji-kun. Talk. Why was I running down this unfamiliar and deserted street? Doesn't Keiji-kun have something he's worried about? Nothing at all. I'm not worried about anything. Lies! Even though I was running, even though Rena was walking, thanks to her cheers as always, why wasn't I getting any farther away? I know, I really do know. Oh wait, I know, I really do know. You're scared, aren't you, Keiji-kun? I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything. Lies! My breathing grew heavy, and it felt like my legs were giving out from beneath me. Rena wasn't even breaking a sweat. I'll listen. This time I'll listen. I had no idea what she was talking about or what exactly she wanted to do. This time I'll listen. It will be different from the... This time I'll listen. It will be different from the time with Satoshi-kun. When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as I did that, Rena was still advancing. I couldn't afford to stop. Probably Maroon. Satoshi-kun was worried too. It looked like he was having such a hard time that I didn't listen. I was so sad. Where does this street connect to? All these twists and turns, up and downs. It's hard to believe that this was even remotely in the direction towards my house. My sense of direction had long since gone out the window. I really regretted it when Satoshi-kun transferred out. I thought if I had listened, he may not have transferred out. I really regretted that. The road led me deeper into the forest. Wasn't I getting further away from the village the more I ran? I lost more and more of my composure the more I thought about it. But despite this realization, my inner self was still disturbingly calm. So you see, I vowed if there was someone struggling like Satoshi-kun did, I'd save them. I don't want to see anyone transferred out again. What does transferred even mean? I won't let you transfer me. I won't end up the same as Satoshi. Come on, Keiji-kun. Talk to me. I see, Gabe. I'll be able to understand you, Keiji-kun. I'm your ally. I started wheezing, out of breath. My lungs were so hot that they felt like they were going to explode. My heart was beating as hard as it possibly could. I should have practiced running instead of my swing. I couldn't even afford to scoff at that stupid thought. If Keiji-kun doesn't have to worry about, I'm not sure, he'll go back to normal. Everyone will be back to being friends and we can enjoy club activities again. Next time we'll team up and beat Mi-chan. Yeah, how much fun that would be. Rena could even imagine how much I had wished I could turn back the clock on these past few days. You could be nice to me again, too. I want to go searching for treasure again. This time I'll prepare a nice lunch. Oh. I gotta reread this real quick. You could be nice to me again, too. I want to go searching for treasure again. This time I'll prepare a nice lunch. Actually, we could just go right now. Let's go up to the dam site. I'll show you the cute thing I just found. I'm sure you'll like it too. My footstep made pathetic flapping. Yeah, I know, flapping sounds as my legs wobbled and faltered. Hot on my heels, Rena were sharply breaking twigs underfoot. I had to accept it. I was on the run, being chased by Rena. If she had caught me, it was all over. I realized it instinctively. I couldn't even begin to think of what the end would entail. Just that if I was caught, it would all be over. That's all I knew. It didn't matter how it was going to end. I wouldn't let it end. Not without knowing anything. Not yet. That momentary lapse was all it took. Of all the things that could have happened, my knees buckled underneath me and I crumbled towards the ground. I tried to stand frantically, urging my legs to respond. I used my bat to make as a makeshift cane to prop myself up, but Rena was already standing right in front of me. Compared to me, out of breath and utterly exhausted, Rena was so cool and composed that she could have froze the air around her. She wasn't breathing hard at all. Rather, I couldn't even sense if her heart was beating. Are you afraid of something? I wonder. It's not like you to tremble, Keiji-kun. Her expression looked almost affectionate. Those soulless eyes, that mask of affection. Not much, Gabe. As she admonished me for trembling, Rena's hands deftly slipped over her head. The blur of her arms as they moved made me feel as if I was glaring at the godliness of the thousand-armed Buddha. Then as both her hands met above her head, the axe that she held came into focus. I stared up at it in disbelief. It was all I could do. Tell me what happened to Satoshi. Rena stayed like that with the axe raised above her head, and solemnly opened her mouth. It was as she was expressing a farewell to a friend she was never going to see again. That cruel scenario resided somewhere in her action. I told you, Satoshi-kun transferred out. Enough of that transferred gunk. It means demon away, isn't it? Doesn't it? It means demon away, doesn't it? You can tell me now, can't you? Who made Satoshi disappear? Was it you, Mion, or someone in the village? Answer me! I became frantic the more I screamed, but Rena did nothing but maintain that smile frozen on her face. I have no idea what Keiji-kun is talking about. I'll say it in a way so you do. Who is the perpetrator of this chain of mysterious deaths? You seem to be confused, Keiji-kun. What? There is no human perpetrator. Everything is by Oyashiro-sama's will. Isn't Oyashiro-sama's curse just superstition? You believe in that too? It's not about believing or not. Oyashiro-sama exists. Period. Oh, sweet Jesus. Rena's gaze grew even more gilded. The ferocity of her stare was so intense, not allowing me to question anything. There's just no way something like Oyashiro-sama could exist. You don't believe in Oyashiro-sama? There's no way I could believe it. There's no way it could exist. It exists. Oyashiro-sama exists. Keiji-kun should have felt it personally. I never felt something like that. Keiji-kun, haven't you felt someone apologizing to you before? Constantly on top of that. All noises from the outside world disappeared. Only Rena's voice resounded, loudly and trembly. You see, until you forgive them, they'll always be with you. At school, at home, at your bedside. I could understand what Rena was saying. It came to me too. Oyashiro-sama did. That's why I transferred and came back to Hinamizawa. I don't understand. What does transfer even mean? What was Rena saying? Hasn't Oyashiro-sama come to you as well, Keiji-kun? I'm probably the only one who you can confine in. I won't let you transfer out, okay? Rena's demented laughter clanged inside my head. Was Rena saying Oyashiro-sama came to her as well? That's right. Last night, I had heard about that when I asked about Rena. Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested? Oishi-san began speaking. Either the victims or school filed a complaint, so there's no preliminary report. Basically, the police hadn't intervened in this matter, so all of this detail was just what I heard from those involved, meaning that it's not that credible. You said there were victims. Didn't Rena just break all the windows? No, Ryugu just had attacked 3 boys using a metal bat. 2 of them made it out only with bruises. But the other had been injured so badly that one of his eyes was permanently damaged. Wouldn't that be considered assault? Shouldn't the police have arrested her? For whatever reason, the victim never pressed charges. There was no report to the police, so they were beaten with a bat and suffered significant injuries. Normally there would be a criminal investigation, but why didn't they press charges? I tried asking the 3 male victims for their side of the story, but they were all reluctant. It's hard to say, but they were all afraid. Even after they had transferred schools. Oishi-san, could you summarize it from the beginning? Rena hit people while she broke the windows? Or was it she started breaking windows after she got bored of hitting people? They sounded similar, but the meanings were drastically different. On an undisclosed date, Rena Ryuko was conversing with 3 male students, close friends of hers, near the pool storage shed. Who were those 3? I can't reveal their names. They were close to Rena and Ryuko, and it seems they were a group of friends. And thanks for the cheers as always, Maureen. Really appreciate that. She was the lone girl in their group. So it wasn't that strange that the 4 of them were together. So what happened? I don't know the reason why. She took the baseball team bat that was in the pool storage shed and beat the 3 of them down after the other. What? There were no witnesses. This was an account pieced together by the information given at the time of the incident. One day after school, Rena and the 3 male students were at the pool storage shed talking together. They weren't seeking help, rather they usually met up there. It appears it became a heated discussion. At the time, Rena underwent a change. The change was so abrupt that the 3 of them didn't comprehend what was happening. Then taking the metal bat, she attacked her friends, one after the other. Oh god. Leaving her friends covered in blood, with gashes on their head. She made her way towards the school building. Oh god. Then she broke the glass window, one after the other. A few minutes later, a teacher appeared on scene and subdued her. And thanks for the cheers, Gabe. I really appreciate that. What was this change Rena underwent? What matches up in the statements from the 3 was a sudden change. The point that there was a transformation. I could recall Rena's transformation. I'd seen that change many times. It was so different from the usual Rena. I couldn't help but believe it was someone else who looked like Rena. That transformation they're talking about, had it happened before? No, there was nothing like that. As far as I could find out, in her medical history and past, there was nothing like that. Does that happen often where people change suddenly like Rena did? Of course it does. There are plenty of psychological phenomenon that could cause something like that. Then you're saying there was a dormant element in Rena that caused the transformation. I cannot say that for certain, but according to the statements of her friends, it's hard to believe that she had such a side to her. Kind, caring, and adorable. Even though she transferred here, she was probably pretty popular in school like she was now. That girl transforming suddenly and insulting them with a bat, who could imagine such a thing? Nobody could have seen it coming. I myself sometimes believe that I was mistaken for thinking that was Rena even now. Then, what happened after that? There was a hospital right across the school, so 3 of them were carried in and treated quickly. What about Rena? What about the police? Why wasn't there a criminal investigation? You see, police can't get involved unless they are called. Even though one was badly injured with permanent damage, why didn't they file charges? That's what caught my attention as well. Either some threat or pressure was placed on them, or they had a reason they couldn't file charges even if they wanted to. We're talking about you after all. Of course, you looked into it, didn't you? Well, yeah, but I told you at the beginning, didn't I? That the victims were all very reluctant to talk? They didn't want to touch on the matter, or rather, they didn't want to be involved. Reluctant to talk, didn't want to touch it, didn't want to be involved. It resembled the villagers here in Oyashiro-sama's curse. Did the teacher at the school tell you anything? A school is a hollow ground. You could say they tend to keep scandals under wraps. I didn't have a search warrant, so I had to tread lightly, you see? And there was no comment from the school? No, they denied the incident even happened. It's just 3 male students were carried in for blunt force trauma that day. That all there was in the hospital records. The victims didn't speak. The school denied it happened, and you don't know anything at all. Yeah. I know nothing other than the incident itself had taken place. The victims also wish this incident to be kept from the public, so if you and I both forget about it, Mibata-san, then this incident will probably just fade away. For a brief period, we sat in silence. At first glance, it looked like a simple assault case, but that was the tip of the iceberg. The deaths were obscured by roiling waves, sinking quietly into the void as if it never existed to begin with. After that, she was suspended by the school, and during that time, she underwent psychiatric counseling. Did you hear anything from that doctor? Again, they were very professional in regards to their ethics, or at least very tight-lipped. Not even after you showed them your badge? I was told to get a warrant. The badge itself was no legally binding authority after all. Then how did you know that Rena confessed that it was Oyashiro-sama who did it? There was a nurse I asked in that department. She agreed to help me from showing her my badge. Then what did she say? Turns out the nurse hadn't heard everything. Apparently, all that she remembered was what she overheard inside the room. The nurse said at the time Rena Ryugu was very calm and mild-mannered. It was more like she was confessing her sins to a church than counseling session. She spoke with her mother, for sum it of. But partway through, her mother was asked to leave, so it became a private counseling session between just the doctor and Rena for a while. What? The part with Oyashiro-sama, when did that pop up? Partway through, she screamed the name suddenly. That startled the nurse, and that's why she started listening in. It was Oyashiro-sama. Rena suddenly shouted that. I had no idea what was said before that, so I had no idea what the meaning behind it could have been. The doctor calmly and reluctantly asked Rena to have a seat. What is this Oyashiro-sama you speak of? Gently, ever so gently. The fundamentals of counseling were believing what you were told. Whoever abandoned Hinamizawa will be hunted down by Oyashiro-sama. And they've finally gotten to me. That's the town you live in before you moved here. Isn't that right, Ryugu-san? I didn't want to move, but because of my mom and dad's circumstances, we had to. But Oyashiro-sama wouldn't allow it. Ryugu-san must have had a lot of friends in Hinamizawa. Even now, you must be missing them dearly, don't you think? I want to go back to Hinamizawa. No, it's not that I want to go back. I have to go back. I should have gone back much sooner. But now it's too late. Oyashiro-sama has come. Oyashiro-sama is the name of the god in Hinamizawa, isn't that right? Everyone knows it's Hinamizawa's guardian deity. And if you ever try abandoning Hinamizawa by leaving, you'll incur his wrath. You had moved quite a while ago, didn't you? Then it was just now that this god had arrived. Is that what you're saying? You might not believe me, but Oyashiro-sama exists. That nurse was then asked by another nurse to do something and left the room. That was all she remembered. That was Oyashiro-sama's doing, right? I do believe there is that kind of superstition in Hinamizawa. If you leave the village, then you incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath. You should be familiar with this part of Maibata-san. I knew very well what those scorned by the village incurred. To hinder the dam construction project, they cursed the construction foreman to his death. Then the following year, Satoko's parents, supporters and leading advocates for the dam, were cursed to their deaths. This was the first time I've heard of the curse incurred by leaving the village. This was the first time my first time hearing that. I can understand outside threats being cursed by the village, but why also villagers who leave? Normally people who leave villages aren't supposed to be cursed, right? I know it's a bit strange to say it, but I could see as a rule that the people who come in are the ones who would be cursed. Far from Jupiter, far from his thunder, curses weren't something to chase after people that leave, aren't they? Were they? Oishi-san pondered for a bit over on the other end of the receiver, then began speaking again. Well, I told you of long ago when Hinamizawa was called Onikakushi, didn't I? I recalled hearing that. Long ago, Hinamizawa was feared and respected as the village of ogres. The villagers at the foot of the mountains worshipped the ogres, so Onikakushi was hollowed ground that you could never enter. It came to be said that if you entered carelessly, you were cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Those who set foot in Onikakushi, in other words, Hinamizawa, would be cursed. I could understand that. I know that, but for leaving to also be no good. That's also the ogres, you see. They were strictly being watched by Oyashiro-sama, so they would not enter into our world. In other words, Oyashiro-sama probably restricted interaction between Onikakushi and the rest of the world. I see. I finally understood what the sort of thing Oyashiro-sama was. So basically, Oyashiro-sama is more like a warden than a protectorate deity, right? Trying to keep this place isolated from the rest of the world. I guess that's how it would seem. I'm sorry, I don't know very much myself. It was mostly what was passed on from me to me from my grandmother. I could understand it a bit better if it was like that. Those who came to Hinamizawa would be cursed, and those who try to leave would also be cursed. So because Rena originally lived in Hinamizawa and moved away, she fulfilled the requirements for being cursed. That means Rena moved away against its wishes. And thanks for your cheers as always, Maroon. Really appreciate that. That means because Rena moved away against his wishes, she was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Is that what it adds up to? In short, that's what it seems to be what it points to, I guess. As a matter of fact, soon afterwards, they moved back to Hinamizawa. They did move back to Hinamizawa after all. Those who abandoned Hinamizawa and left were cursed. But then why only Rena? Shouldn't Rena's parents also have been guilty of the same transgression by moving away have been cursed? Also, in this day and age in Japan, shouldn't there be a lot of people coming and going? If every single one of them was cursed, then it'd be insane. But in reality, it wasn't that big of a deal at all. At most, there would be one person dying and one disappearing on the day of the Watanagashi. I don't like saying at most, though. Well, anyways, there's a lot I don't know. Even if it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, it doesn't add up to why her classmates, the victims who were beaten with a metal bat, wouldn't press charges. You don't think the victims were cowering because they believe the terrible curse had befallen them, do you? Of course, I didn't want to believe it. But more importantly, I had just realized something else. There was another bizarre connection that Rena made between Oyashiro-sama's curse and metal bats. Satoshi fell victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse and went missing. I recently learned that Satoshi had also become infatuated with the metal bat right before he disappeared. Just like me, and Rena as well. She was affected by Oyashiro-sama's curse. She confessed that much to the doctor. And the weapon that she had used at that time of that horrendous act was again a metal bat. And finally, me, I encountered various things that were inexplicable, and now I was holding on to a bat. I was shocked when I learned that Satoshi did the same thing. It couldn't be had the same thing happen to Rena, but there was one critical difference between her and Satoshi's case. That being, Satoshi went missing after falling victim to the curse, but Rena was still here. Both had fallen victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse, yet they were met with different endings. And finally, me, I couldn't call it a coincidence anymore. Rena, Satoshi, and finally me. Could it be that I was really under Oyashiro-sama's curse right now? No, more importantly than that, what should I do now? Satoshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Rena was fine. Rena had undergone a change. Had I only believed that there was something Rena that wasn't Rena residing within her. And here now, it was standing before me. Oh God. Rena, please tell me, what will happen to me? Rena stood imposingly, not answering. Not till she disappeared, but Rena didn't disappear. So what will happen to me? I've never heard such an unpleasant laugh before. It had become akin to the sound of her breathing. It was no longer a voice or an expression of feeling. Don't worry, I'll save you. Rena took one step forward, holding the axe high above her head. Now then, one step closer. Rena's face spread out to fill my vision. Speak. One step closer. Rena's nose was close enough to touch mine, and was still pushing closer. There was something you want to say, isn't there? I'll listen. I'll save you. Okay. Speak. Okay. Speak. Okay. I slumped down, landing squarely on my butt. It wasn't for some pathetic reason. It was all I could do to get as far away from Rena. I had the gut feeling that I couldn't let her laughter end. But when that laughing ended, that moment I picked up on that feeling, my body was moved by instinct. I sprang to my feet so fast I couldn't believe it, and pushed Rena away with both hands. Oh, I already envisioned the anime again. Rena was light as a feather, thrown about by an unbalanced weight of an axe. She was sent backwards as if she had been carried off by the wind. After confirming that out of the corner of my eye, I dashed off at full speed. Yep, Sonic speed. I was the perfect picture of fleeing like a greased pig. Wow, all I could really think was, grease lightning, oh, grease lightning. Get away from Rena, run away, survive. I couldn't think of anything other than this. While I was running, I remembered that I'd been holding onto a bat the entire time. Such a worthless weapon. I couldn't believe I had forgotten about this weapon at such an important time. I sped even farther down the winding path. I didn't even feel myself gasping for breath or my legs getting heavy. My body understood it as well. If I didn't run away from here, I wouldn't live. I couldn't hear the laughter of that simulacrum of Rena coming from behind me. I could hear it rang through the trees and in my head, slowly chiseled away at my sanity. The growths of the trees thinned out, my vision suddenly expanding. Where was this? For a moment, I was bewildered by the scenery I felt I knew, but couldn't quite remember. I quickly realized it was the damn site. The fact that I dashed madly and ended up in a place like this gave me a bad feeling. Like I was following someone's scripted plot. Did he just break the fourth wall? I had a good view of my surroundings, but I didn't see a single soul here. This was a terrible spot for someone on the run. But there was no better place for an attacker. My heart was already on the verge of bursting. The muscles in my legs were screaming. But I didn't care. But if I stopped there, then they might not even be able to scream for much longer. Even still, I glanced back, looking for an excuse to rest. Rena wasn't there. Instead, I saw two villagers walking around. I breathed a sigh of relief. It wasn't Rena, but a third party. Yeah, indeed. Except the voice inside me rang the alarm once again. Villagers walking around weren't suspicious in and of themselves, but it bothered me. They both wore rough-looking clothes. They definitely gave me the impression that they were just out for a walk. At this time of the day, two adults wandering around without purpose, it was enough to raise questions. But more than anything, those eyes. They weren't chit-chatting while walking. They were both silent, heading forward, looking in my direction. Was I at the end of my rope and I had finally started imagining things? Maybe. I should run away. That was probably the best choice. If they weren't involved, I'd lose them easily by running. They were part of the group after me. Then they would come running after me. Either way, unless I hurry up, Rena would catch up with me. That's right, I was going to run. Deciding that the moment I began to turn tail, both of them rushed towards me as I knew exactly what I was thinking. Somewhere inside me, I had jumped to the conclusion that Rena was the only thing I needed to be afraid of. I made the assumption that I didn't need fear anything else. But right now, I realized just how blatantly wrong I was. Suddenly, the story Oishi-san told me about the demons leaving the village to hunt prey floated through the back of my mind. I could tell they were both coming after me without even turning around because of their frenetic footsteps. It was frightening being unable to shake Rena off as she slowly closed in on me. This didn't even compare. Being pursued with such violent ferocity, this straightforward horror was unparalleled. One of the pursuers' arm grazed my shoulder. Now it wasn't just their frenzied footstep, but also the distinct sound of breathing that I could hear. No, I could practically feel them breathing on me. They were already right behind me. Calm down, Keiji Mibata. Still running at full tilt, I felt the surrounding area go still. No, it felt like time itself had stopped. Hang on. I'm back again. Probably the whole world, Gabe. Still running at full tilt. I felt the surrounding area go still. No, it felt like the time itself had stopped. I turned my head back slightly in the frozen world, realizing how close my pursuers had gotten to me. I couldn't win against the legs of an adult. In less than a time it would take to blink twice. When this frozen time began moving again, they'd be right on top of me. And then, don't think about that, KG. First realize that you won't be able to shake them off like this. If the fact that you can't get away was a given, then you don't need to make a decision. Sorry, I just got a snack real quick. Go with the right leg or go with the left. You just need to decide which one. Let's go with the left. The moment I decide that, the temporal singularity bursts into pieces. Right, left. I swung the bat in the wide arc with my right arm. Using the inertia, I stopped and suddenly spun. What? The two of them were clearly startled. Losing sight of me, both of their outstretched arms ready to grab me. And thanks for your cheers as always, Maroon. Really appreciate that. Ready to grab me instead of grasp at empty space. The man on the right, I applaud him being able to figure it out, spun around to the spot I shouldn't have been and faced me in astonishment. But it was too late. I didn't even swing my bat. All I needed to do was extend my arm as I turned around. It was by no means a heavy blow, but it seemed like it had enough power behind it to knock him off his feet. But knocking him down was enough to scare him away. He got back up in no time. Both of them took a fighting stance and were ready to face me. This made me certain that they weren't just two people out for a walk. They were clearly after me. It was much easier than dealing with Rena. Just not by recognizing their face, but by not knowing them. It made things easier. I smiled wearily on the inside. What do you want with me? Next one's going to be right in your face. It's fine if it was just a bluff. By barking out at them, I was able to fire myself up. They didn't respond. They spread out to either side of me with unbelievably calm expression on their faces. One of them would grab onto my bat and the other would hold me down. Was that their plan? Taking on both of them at once would be impossible. Hot sweat poured from every pore in my body. Then I just had to settle with the first move. I step in and strike the first one down, narrowing my target down to the man on the right, who had already been knocked down before. I stepped in and swung with all my might. There was no way for an unnamed person to guard against it. It would cause immense damage. If they blocked it with their arms, their bones would snap like a twig. If they turned their back to it, then it was impossible that the blow would travel all the way to their vital organs. Yeah, indeed. It looked like he was aware of this. He pushed farther through the kill zone between us and delivered a fist right into my gut. Not good with this distance. In this position, in this state, there was no way for me to dodge it. The world flipped upside down. I understood that I was being tossed around like a rag doll. I landed on the soft earth without a sound, feeling the grainy soil press against my face. Yeah. It didn't hurt at all. But that moment, I thought that I suddenly felt pain was coming from the aberration on my skin as well as the contents of my stomach being forced upwards, flooding my mouth with a bitter sensation. I knew very well that I didn't have the time to relish this experience. I stood up as quickly as I could, but at that moment, the other man was already barreling towards me. Being able to comprehend calmly that I simply couldn't dodge it made it all the more upsetting. After plowing into my stomach full force once again, my assailant around behind me and locked his thick arm around my neck. My throat felt like it was being crushed by its immense strength. I couldn't even contemplate that I was being strangled or I was about to go unconscious. My vision simply darkened and a silent whining noise began deep inside my mind. It took everything I had to keep myself from blacking out. While this was happening, the other man was more than likely standing in front of me. I wasn't able to open my eyes, but I could feel that he was there. There was nothing I could do now. Unable to shake this arm off me, I couldn't run. I couldn't fight back. Dire straits. I couldn't even come up with a phrase that adequately described my situation. So now what? Oh god, here we go now. I already know where this is. Here comes the right. I'm just gonna play this music real quick just to describe it. Never mind. Familiar ceiling. Smell of the bed and pillows. I knew them well. Was this my... I knew them well. Was this my room? Normally there would be anyone in my room besides me, but their presence made me spring awake. When I did that, pain shot throughout my entire body. Feeling alright? I think you'd better lie down for a bit. While I was running in my room, blood began to surge through my muscles. Why do you have to play that innocent sounding song? Blood began to surge through my muscles and my capillaries. But Rena's smile belonged to the Rena I knew her well. I knew I shouldn't let myself feel this way, but relaxing that this version of Rena was safe. Why am I... Don't you remember? After losing consciousness, nothing at all. My body became more lethargic than I could ever imagine. I guess that would be the expected outcome after exerting everything I had back there. I tried to at least clear my head, but I just couldn't shake the sluggish feeling out of my mind. I called the doctor. He should be here soon. I think you'd better just lie down until then. I wasn't seriously injured enough to merit calling a doctor, but knowing that someone impartial was coming was slightly reassuring. Why am I here? I'm sure I was at the damn site. That's what I want to know. What happened? When I got there, Keiji-kun was already passed out. That's why I'm the one who wants to know. Was attacked by two weirdos. Of course, as I talked about it, I finally remembered what happened right before I passed out. Recalling that memory and the terror that went along with it, the fogginess around my head to clear right up. Let's forget about those two for now. I didn't expect Rena to be nursing me. I thought Rena was trying to kill me. She would have had the perfect chance while I was unconscious. Not only did she not kill me, she had nursed me back to health. Amazing. Oh my god! Amazing you could drag me back all the way back. You could drag me all the way back here. Wasn't I heavy? Looking at Rena's delicate frame, it was hard to believe that she had not only gotten me back home, but even dragged me all the way up to the second floor. Does she have some help? Don't you remember, Keiji-kun? And thanks for the cheers again, Maroon. I really appreciate that. Rena appeared a bit surprised, but still kept her smile. I only propped you up on my shoulder. You said you could walk on your own and that you were fine. You don't remember? And thanks for cheers as always, Maroon. Really appreciate that. I didn't remember. My memory was fuzzy after that. The point where I lost consciousness. What about those two? Huh? When you got there, Rena, the ones with me, or rather, those two guys? There wasn't anyone. She said it bluntly. The way she said it, it was slightly unpleasant. I was too timid at that time. I might have been able to force some answers out of Rena. I see. But if I did that, then this kind Rena might transform into the scary Rena who I didn't know. Hearing that, I didn't press any further. Thinking about it, it was the obvious choice. If those men were there, I don't think Rena would even have stood a chance. I couldn't find a way to explain it unless I assumed she brought me here after those two were already gone. Rena was still smiling. Her eyes sparkled warmly, yet felt like I was hallucinating when I saw something. Something akin to a shadow slowly creeping across her face. That small omen sent shivers down my spine. Spooky, scary skeletons send shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons speak with such a shriek. You'll shake and shudder in surprise when you hear these zombies shriek. We're so sorry, skeletons, you're so misunderstood. You only want to socialize, but I don't think we should. Okay, I'm done. While Rena was still Rena, I needed to make contact. I needed to contact Oishi-san. Rena stopped me when I tried to get out of bed. She said it would aggravate my wounds, so that I should sleep. I'd like to go to the bathroom, though. Sorry. Rena couldn't say anything else. While Rena stayed in the room, I quickly went downstairs to get the phone receiver in the living room. When I approached the front door, the doorbell rang ding dong. It must have been the Dr. Rena had called. It was strange for a patient to welcome in the doctor was making a house call. But it will be incredibly reassuring to have him here for a considerable time it will take Oishi-san to get here. I carelessly opened the door with that simple assumption and regretted it almost instantly. Mion? Oh, you just look fine. I heard you collapsed, so I came to check up on you. How did you know I collapsed? I heard from Rena over the phone. Do I need any reason other than that? I understood why she would call a doctor, but why me on tune? Rena was descending the stairs behind me. Rena, doesn't Kei-chan look pretty alright? Jeez, you made me worried for nothing. That's true. Yeah, I worried for nothing as well. They both began laughing. It appeared to be a cheerful laughter, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was darkness looming over them. Whoa, what's up with the shoe rack? How'd they get like this? The shoe rack that I smashed to pieces had been like that yesterday. I fell, you see? And that bat I was holding at the time slammed into it. This is what happens when you swing around something you're not used to handling. I also kept the fact that none of her business to myself. But leaving it like this will really startle your parents when they get home. I'll fix it up for you later. Now come on, Kei-chan. This terminally ill needs their rest. Come on, back in bed, back in bed. All of them urged me up the stairs. I had no chance to call Oishi-san. I was pushed into my bed. As it was the first time Mion had been in my room, she began searching around it intently. She fiddled around with my room and was scolded by Rena. You could imagine how it went. It was uncomfortable having my room poked around, but the conversation was so benign that it was heartwarming. During that instant conversation, Mion said as though it was perfectly ordinary. Rena, did you call the manager? Yep. Right after I called Mi-chan, he said he'd be right over. Manager? The out of place word gave me a bad feeling. Rena called the doctor, then called Mion, then right after that called the manager? Who was this manager? Rena and Mion's conversation was so peaceful it felt slightly odd. What are you guys talking about? Who's this manager? You did, you know, Kei-chan. We mean the manager when we say manager. Like the director of a movie. Or like a foreman of a construction site. I dug through all my memories for a manager who might have business with. Only one thing came to mind. What Rena just said, the construction site foreman, first victim of the first incident, the dismemberment of the damn construction site, the foreman? But that was strange. He was supposed to be dead. There's no way they could call him. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. What does the manager have to do with me? You said he was coming. Did you mean to my house? I asked one obvious question after another, but all two of them did was smile coolly at each other. There was a huge difference between how the two of them appeared and how my suspicions were playing out. Slowly, I felt discomfort and panic welling up inside me. I couldn't understand what Rena and Mion were talking about. Kei-chan, you've gotten into baseball lately, haven't you? Pretty sure the manager will be happy to hear that. And congrats on its evolution, Gabe. So who is this manager? The manager is the manager. So who is this manager? Rena and Mion looked at each other, laughed haughtily. A disturbing cackle unpleasantly resounded around me. That laugh, long enough to be unsettling, ended abruptly. Oh yeah, you should finish up before the manager comes. You remember, don't you, Kei-chan? Her face was laughing, but Mion's eyes told a different story. Remember? Remember what? Keiji-kun, had he forgotten? I wonder? About the penalty? About the penalty? Did you really forget? The homework with the mochi? The homework where you were supposed to guess which one Rena made? You forgot about that homework, didn't you? I certainly did have that homework, but I had thrown away the rest of the mochi after I found the sewing needle. So I wasn't able to answer which one Rena made. The penalty for what? That? Why now? No doubt my question was written all over my face. Their answer to my question was that dry laughter. I could no longer make heads or tails of anything. I began to think that this entire day was somehow insane, strange, incomprehensible. Being chased by Rena, attacked by strange men, the penalty Mion and Rena were talking about. What are these two laughing at? It didn't take that long for me to realize I had been dragged into an abnormal situation. Who are these two? Who are these people? Who are these doppelgangers of Rena and Mion? Oh God! Perfect timing. Rena had gotten behind me at some point. Why was she pinning my arms behind my back? What are you doing? Don't move. This is your penalty. Yep. My body was already very sluggish, and Rena, I already know where this is gonna go down. Like I said, Rena pinning my arms made it that much harder to move. I seriously tried to struggle, but Rena wouldn't even budge. My panic began to well up, and I realized that this was well beyond the realm of jokes and pleasantries. This freakishly monstrous strength, it would have been impossible for the Rena that I knew. Then these thin, frail arms grasping me firmly. Whose arms were they? Kei-chan, no struggling. Club rules. There are no exceptions. You can't fight against the penalty. Mion, no, that thing that looked like Mion spoke to me like how Mion would speak to me. But I was certain that this was not Mion. Someone who wasn't Mion. Someone who was pretending to be Mion. Need to finish this up before the manager comes. Mion fished into her pockets and pulled out something bizarre. I could tell what it was just by looking, but for such a thing to be in her pocket, my mind wouldn't accept it. What is that? It was a small syringe. It was a small clear syringe like what a doctor would use when you went to him when you were sick. Rena held me even tighter, and I could hear that clattering laughter that no longer sounded like laughter blaring into my ears. That eerie laughter, it wasn't something that the Rena I knew could ever produce from her own throat. This thing that was pretending to be Rena, was this their real laugh? Unable to defend myself, NANI? The syringe Mion was holding drew closer. And that needle tip was waved in front of my face countless times. Don't worry. It won't hurt. It won't hurt. What are you planning on doing? What kind of sick joke is this? What are you saying, Kei-chan? You know exactly what's going on, don't you? About what? I don't understand any of this at all. I know you know. No use playing the fool this late in the game. Stop talking nonsense to try and confuse me. You're going to have done to you what happened to Tomitake-san. Oh, sweet Jesus Christ. What? The same as Tomitake-san? I didn't really understand what she meant. What did that have to do with this syringe? You're playing dumb, Keiji-kun. You should have realized it by now. Rena whispered into my ear, laughing as if to admonish me. But even the way she spoke was repulsive beyond compare. Playing dumb? Me? About what? What do you mean? The same as Tomitake-san? Everyone thought at first it was hit and run. Except when the officer got closer to check if he was still alive. He soon noticed it wasn't a normal situation. His throat was scratched out. From then, a knife or something? No, nails. Nails? I'm already knowing where this is gonna go down. Nails as in fingernails? With those gouged through? That's right. Tomitake-san had clawed out his own throat with his own nails and died. There's no way someone could die like that. So then, for that to happen, we thought drugs were to blame, but nothing of nature was detected. That's right. The police didn't find any drugs in Tomitake-san's system. The police told me they didn't find any drugs in Tomitake-san's body. The two of them laughed together with that sickening laughter. Of course they laughed. They assumed that such a medicine didn't exist just because the police didn't know about it was completely foolish. Meaning the drug that caused Tomitake-san to die in such a bizarre manner did exist. If Mion had injected this into me, then that would probably be all the proof I needed. And that would basically mean I end up the same as Tomitake-san. Become hysterical, laughing, scratching out my throat in the last moments and die. For such an outrageous drug to exist, for Mion to be holding it, and that I was about to be injected with it. At that moment, I did not feel there was any need whatsoever to question it. What kind of idiot, when he was trying to dodge a ball, flying straight for his face, has the time to think of a reason as to why it's flying at him? Just give up. Alright then. Mion's action lacked any gravitas, and that made it even more terrifying. There was none of the ceremony like when someone is sentenced to death. There was no hesitation at all, as if she was brushing her teeth. Mion reached out with one hand and grabbed into my chest. It felt like electricity had run through my back of my head, and the entire world had gone dark. No, stay for a bit, Gabe. Did I stand up too fast? Or did someone hit me really hard at the back of my head? Having lost my sense of balance, I was assaulted by a wave of dizziness. Here we go! This should be it. I squatted down for a bit. When I came back to my senses, my entire room had changed drastically. The numbness in my head was gone slowly, and I could tell blood was flowing to my extremities again. How long have I been squatting here? How many minutes? Or has it been hours? It was almost as if my hand on the clock had stopped moving the entire time my eyes were closed. That's how little time passed. Really, the air in the room wasn't filled with that madness from before, only a dull silence. Rena was only pinning my arms, Mion, and wasn't there, about to inject me with a needle. No way, could it be all of it was a hallucination? There were no other presence in the rooms besides my own? It was the weirdest experience I've ever had. I was certainly with Rena and Mion. I doubted my sanity for a moment, but I was also seized with some sort of comfort. I guess that terrible ordeal was a hallucination. Neither Rena or Mion, they wouldn't ever do something so terrible. My head grew hot. I could tell my emotions were welling up. Why? That wasn't a reason to cry. Why? It was sorrow. Why was I sad? I couldn't understand. I don't understand. Kind to everyone, not discriminating against age or gender. Mion? Yeah, then Mion was sprawled by a window in an unnatural pose, blood-stained and deep red from her head down to her chest. Nope, it's Mion instead. Gabe. The bright crimson smeared on the walls that splattered had undoubtedly come from Mion. She had already had that bright smile and was kind to me from the day I transferred. Rena? The same Rena was slumped at my feet and making the same pool of blood as Mion. I couldn't comprehend what had happened. Did someone come to save me? And they beat these two down with this metal bat? Yeah. Notice the weight in my right hand. I mean, like I said, I knew how this was gonna go down. I've seen the anime, I've read the manga. I already know, so I'm not surprised, to be honest. I finally noticed the weight in my right hand had long had it been there. It was Satoshi's metal bat. It was covered in deep red. There was no doubt that this was the weapon used to mutilate both of them. I was holding that weapon. I was the only person in the house. What? Looking objectively, I couldn't think of anyone other than myself who could have done it. I did this? That's right, Keiji Mebara. Of course I did it. I told this to myself gently as if I was coaxing myself. Hey, me. There's no reason for you to remember it, nor there a need to regret it. Eat or be eaten. You get that, don't you? But the blood everywhere! There's so much blood! Neither Rena nor Mion had moved an inch. It wasn't just a split forehead and a trickle of blood, nothing that simple. The entire room was splattered with red, and that told me it didn't end with 2 or 3 strikes. Were they dead? Both of them? Depths of my mind were calm, but on the surface I was panicking and agitated. Blood! The pools of blood! Blood! Calm down, Keiji Mebara. What happened to your usual calm self? Come on now. Do like you always do. Throw your head back and take a deep breath. Come on. Once. Twice. Breathe deeply. Calm down. Calm down. I chanted that over and over again and relax. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Color came back to my vision, and smells reinfused into the air. At the same time, I remember what happened when I blacked out. Rena and Mion had attacked me. They were about to inject me with whatever caused the same symptoms as Tomitake-san. But right before that happened, I fought back. I twisted my whole body and threw Rena as she was pinning my arms. Then I followed through with my spin and rammed my foot hard as I could into Mion's torso. It was soft, but Rena tried jumping on me as I tackled as hard as I could and slammed into her against the wall. A bit longer. It won't be too long. So I tackled her hard as I could as I slammed her against the wall, and I didn't let the brief moment of having them off balance slip by. Satoshi's bat was still left carelessly by the side of my desk. Weep. That moment, everything went pitch black. There was nothing recorded past this point in the videotape of my mind. No, I don't think I can. So, no, that wasn't right. It wasn't that. There was nothing recorded. It was recorded just fine. Just the other me inside myself had not told me not to look and had turned off the TV. Just because the screen had gone black and I couldn't see it didn't mean the videotape within me hadn't recorded it. The TV just set off. The video was still playing. The videotape within me, creaking along, still playing. Oh my god, I feel so bad for Gabe. On the other end, the pitch black screen, That horrifying video was still playing on. Compared to this, though, the scene right before my eyes was still so difficult to take in. There was blood splattered everywhere on the walls, and two of them in these unnatural poses. Not a sign of movement from them. I couldn't even tell if they were breathing. No matter what the circumstances were, my friends, these girls, I had attacked them. I may have even killed them. But if I hadn't done this, I would have been done for. Balancing that out on an imaginary scale. It felt odd that I even felt bad about it. Even if it was a bit excessive, this was justifiable self-defense. This was proof all here. The two of them collapsed here. Here in Mion's syringe. Mion's syringe filled with an unknown drug would certainly solve the mystery surrounding the incident with Tomitake-san. And the fact that both of these two were involved, they'd be able to pick out the criminals one after another. Still, I might be suspected for this, but that was just fine. Anyway, now this should be a police affair. This won't fade into darkness like Rena's past incident. As long as the police were involved, that should bring this to a close. They'll probably revisit their investigation on the chain of events. Oishi-san would definitely get to the bottom of it. Meaning my wish of not wanting to die, wanting to know the truth, that would be fulfilled in the most basic form. It was all a matter of time now. The Dr. Rena called should be getting here soon. I'll confess everything to him. I need to contact Oishi-san. At that moment I remembered, besides the doctor and manager had been called. It was easy to imagine that there was someone deeply involved with the incidents, judging from Rena and Mion's conversation. The ache in my chest, caused by some gruesome deed I'd done, dissipated rapidly. It was not over yet. This place was no longer safe. Stay calm, Keiji Maebara. It's not over yet. I need to live long enough to tell the police of this incident. At that moment, I felt like I heard someone's voice from outside. Since people were speaking, it must mean there was more than one person. Okay, not much. I moved to the curtain ever so slightly and peered outside. It was a bizarre sight. About 4 or 5 grown men were all gathered at the gate. They were very much resembled the 2 men who had assaulted me at the dam site today. Those 2 might even be among them. There was one person wearing a white coat, but he didn't even look like a doctor at all. My gut told me he was in disguise, only posing as the doctor. That guy would probably ring the bell and get me to open the front door, pretend to be a doctor to get me to open the door. The rest of them would all rush in at once. At that moment, I saw the car parked behind the men and my heart nearly skipped a beat. And thanks for the cheers, Maroon. I really appreciate it. The white van. No mistaking it. That van, the one that tried to run me down. The man in the white coat entered the gate and headed towards the front door. The rest of the men hid in the bushes and watched him. I probably couldn't pretend that I wasn't home. Undoubtedly, they just break the window and enter. I need to get out of here somehow. Then use a public phone to contact Oishi-san. Then meet up somewhere. First of all, I need a weapon. Then shoes. But before all that, there was one thing I had to do. After Raid, I had no intentions of dying. I'd live and reveal the truth about this nonsensical curse of Oyashiro-sama. But what would happen here on, regardless of how determined I was, may bring about my demise. And that was why there was one more thing important than getting out of here right now. I need to get that clock out quickly and take down the note hidden behind it. The tape was sticking to it fast. It'd be fine if it was torn a little. I opened up the slightly torn note and began writing another passage with a ballpoint pen. If I wasn't able to inform Oishi-san, then the only thing I could rely on was this note. I never thought a piece of torn college ruled notebook paper could be this reliable before. I had no time. I'd only write what I knew right now. I needed to leave some sort of information that would lead them to uncover the truth. Rena and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. This was an undeniable fact. I still didn't want to believe it, but it was a fact. Anyway, I'd leave all the information that would help lead them to finding the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This was everything I was able to see from the window. There may be more. There was that unidentified person known as the manager. To begin with, the term manager didn't even mesh with Hinamizawa at all. If they were going to include the managers from past incidents, then the only one is the construction foreman, the victim from the first murder. Very first victim in the chain of incidents. Killed in lynching, his body divided into 6 pieces. His right arm was never discovered. The police should have confirmed that after that death, but Rena and Mion did both call him manager. They said manager. They wouldn't use that term to refer to someone who was dead. You'll see soon, don't worry. The police would never even conceive that someone who was deceased could be involved. Could that be some sort of oversight? I didn't know, but even if I didn't know, it could be a big hint for Oishi-san. That's right. They needed to start fresh from the first incident. It wasn't just a simple dismemberment, but a start of this string of mysterious stuff that would follow, so then there must be something hidden there. Please reinvestigate the victim of the dismemberment incident. He's alive. His death should have been established after an autopsy. Logically, you would think so much. But was that really the case? Could it have been some sort of ploy that they were able to deceive the police with? I should jump to conclusion, but he may still be alive, and congrats on leveling up, Gabe. I had no time to ponder that now. Oh yeah. There's an important thing, even more important thing I needed to write. Tomitake-san's death was from an unknown drug. That's right. That drug, it was an irreplaceable piece of evidence. No doubt, just by having this, everything would be uncovered. I couldn't just leave that vital clue lying on the floor. The syringe is proof. Writing that down, I stuck the syringe on the back of the clock with plenty of tape, so it would absolutely not slip out and fall to the floor firmly. Ding dong, the bell rang. They were here. I couldn't write anymore, but even still, there was one last thing I had to write. I have no idea why it has become like this. This may be the closest thing to the truth out of everything I wrote on this note. If you're reading this, then I'm probably already dead. Though you may or may not find my body. If I was going to write out everything that could happen, either dying from a curse or being demoned away, you who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. With this, my last will and testament is complete. It wasn't certain that I was going to die, but it was my final plea, just in case. I folded the notes, took it back into the clock, and returned the clock back to its usual spot. I couldn't help but pray, Oishi-san, if something happens to me, I'll leave the rest to you. After that, I gazed down silently at Rena and Mion. This was probably the last time we ever see each other. Rena, Mion, I really thought all of us were friends. But why did it end up like this? I had never had any fun in my previous school. I only worried about standardized test scores, about if the school I had hoped to get into was where I really wanted to go to, or a safety net. That was all I talked about. It was a dull life. The people I called friends were also my rivals in studying, competition, personal records, and standardized test scores. Everyone was here taught me how unhealthy that lifestyle was. This month was really fun. Making a fuss over lunch, making a fuss over the club, making a fuss over the festival. Something hot began dripping upon from my face. Uncontrollable tears. I should have had no obligation to shed tears for them. But they wouldn't stop. Even if they were after my life. Even if they were trying to kill me. Even that everything that happened this month, I wouldn't forget it. Or could it be those happy days were all facades as well? Was it all a trap meticulously orchestrated up until today to ensnare me? Could it have been I just arbitrarily assumed that they were my friends? That couldn't help the case. Both Rena and Mion, they were really my friends. Those happy days, there was nothing fake or unclear about them. Someone probably forced them to try and kill me. Or their minds were taken over, possessed by a supernatural entity known as Oyashiro-sama. Regardless, both Rena and Mion, they were best friends. They were the best friends ever, and they were coming after me. It wasn't of their own volition. And thanks for the cheers, Moon. I really appreciate that. Wait, they weren't the kind of people to sell off their friends, regardless of whether or not they were forced. There's no way such a thing like being possessed by Oyashiro-sama could happen in reality. Then did the real Rena and Mion come after me? What was I thinking? What a silly, dumb idea. Having beaten down both Rena and Mion, I was still debating if they were the real ones or fakes. There were no real or fakes. Only the reality those before me. Rena and Mion were sprawled at my feet. That was the only truth. I was trying to twist the facts to my benefit. That I had beaten my friends to death. No matter how I spun it, it wouldn't change reality. Rena and Mion were both dead. It felt like there were cracks in the dam of strange emotions I was holding back. It felt like my calm sight, which was nothing more than a bluff, had receded in that opening. Insanity was leaking out. I killed them. Rena and Mion, I killed them. The doorbell rang again. The unrelenting echo pulled me back into a state of composure again. I didn't have a moment to spare. Quickly, I needed to get away. I didn't want to die. I would uncover everything after that. The identity of whoever or whatever had pushed me this far. Even if I had to drink mud and eat grass, I would survive. I would definitely survive. I killed Rena for that very reason. I also killed Mion. I went that far just to keep living, so I can't die. For my sake, and for the sake of the late Rena and Mion, I have to survive. I ran towards the door, grabbed my shoes, and the doorbell rang again as if to urge me on. Behind the single solitary door, they were there. Keeping quiet, I headed towards the kitchen, headed towards the back door. Before opening the back door, I put my ear to it and checked for people outside. No one. After I put on my shoes, I opened the door slowly so as to not make a sound. There he is, the back door. A piercing voice echoed out. That voice stabbed through me, setting my hair on the end. I had to run. Get out of here, KG. One after another, I felt like stuff like rationale and intelligence, those things you use when you have to spare or spill out on me. And thanks for cheers, Gabe. I really appreciate that. I didn't feel any pain from the branches scratching my arms and forehead. My autonomously pulsing heart also felt neither fatigue nor pain. My entire being just wished to live. There was nothing else it desired. It probably had no complaints whatsoever, so of course I wouldn't feel fatigue. I just ran, just recklessly. Oh, hi, D'Angelo. How are you doing tonight? just recklessly running in the direction I was already heading. You okay there? Even if nobody was chasing after me, I'd be running like this. There wasn't a thought in my mind about where I was headed. Turning around, I felt a presence right next to me. That presence was without doubt chasing me like a shadow. If I took one misstep, I would be devoured. That's what I thought. I see. So I didn't turn around. I didn't stop. I ran at full speed. Quack, 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 quack. That was the chirping of the Higurashis, telling me it was evening, trying to tell me something, and then I finally heard the wailing cry of the victims who didn't make it. Will I be joining them? Quack, 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 quack. Only the Higurashis knew. They knew everything. They definitely knew. So I ran towards where I could hear more of the Higurashis chirp. But the farther I ran, the farther away their chirping became. I couldn't get near them. Why are you all running away? Was it my fault? Was I the one to blame? Then I'll apologize. I'm sorry. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I'm sorry. I felt like only the Higurashis knew. So we got a long way to go for this chapter. I think it's coming now. Chased by shadows. The smoking room. Here, oh, this is the part now, Gabe. Yeah, exactly, Marin. The smoking room was filled with a cloud and cigarette smoke. The expensive smoke filtered gave off some crackling electric noise, but it didn't seem like it was doing anything at all. Why did smokers have to shove so far down this corridor where the sun didn't even reach? I recall hearing that the tax revenue from tobacco was about a tenth of the municipality's revenue. We were the most heavily taxed members of this municipality, so I really wish they show us a little more respect. Why would you discard 5 monsus there? It's just decreasing your options. One of the younger detectives was having steering contests with the Mahjong magazine called Next Turn. You're still in Tenpai if you cut the 5 monsus? You're betting on a hot tay. And thanks for cheers, D'Angelo. I really appreciate that. No, I'm Dirty Dan. And you shouldn't be going into it with a mangan. Kuma-chan, look at that. Look at the pawn. They all discarded 5 monsters. A safe tile. You hated if at endgame someone was sitting on a tenpai on the last turn, wouldn't you? The kid let out another groan, putting his cigarette, and then took out another one. I just don't agree. Why would you reduce your own options? By the way, you can't call Ron or Roan with your winning tile and that high tay. What? Why is that? Just when I heard a voice coming down the hall. Are you here, Oishi-san? You have a call from a civilian. Oh, ain't that something? Well, see you there soon. Here it comes, Gabe. And thanks for the cheers, Gabe. I really appreciate that. God, all these cheers, though. I should remind corruption I'm screaming. Why can't you call Roan on it? Oh, hold on for a second, Oishi-san. The man sitting in the seat Oishi-san was Heading towards, waved at the telephone receiver. Outside line from a payphone. Oh, why thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting. This is Oishi. Who is it? Ah, Oishi-san, hello? If it isn't Meibata-san, why, good evening. From the tone Meibata-kun's voice, I already knew he was in a predicament. So you could tell this is being told from, this is being told from Oishi's perspective. This was the first time Meibata-kun had phoned me. He was calling from a payphone. Please calm down. Did something happen? Well... His voice was erratic over the line. He had completely lost his sense of composure. After checking that nobody else could hear, I prompted him in a hushed tone. What happened? Calm down, Meibata-san. I can have a local officer head to your location. I'll be there soon, too. I think that's impossible. His voice was quivering and hoarse. He wasn't surrounded by people even as he was making this call, was he? Meibata-san, you're calling me from a payphone right now, right? Where is that payphone? There's no other sounds besides Meibata-kun's voice. It had to be the payphone booth. Well, there's your answer, Gabe. I had scratched out a note and thrust it in at my colleague sitting across from me. Hinamizawa phone booth. He understood it quickly and hastily started on the internal lines. Calm down, Meibata-san. What is your current situation? It usually wasn't a good idea to tell someone, panicking to do so, but this was not a usual case. Yeah, indeed. They usually farm it via ads corruption. That's how they all do it. Now I got some serious competition with my viewers. Meibata-kun just didn't get in trouble, get away, and then call me. He was in the midst of something dangerous right now. But yelling at Meibata-kun right now would just needlessly call him to be even more frantic. Meibata-kun wasn't just calling him to seek help. He was trying to tell us something more than that. And whatever that was, if I didn't get it from this call, I was certain there would never be another chance. My colleague pushed the note in front of me. There was only one booth in Hinamizawa. Patrol car is on the way. 5 minutes. That's too long. How many officers are in there? 2. Not enough. If it was as I imagined, there was likely quite a few people surrounding Meibata-kun. 5 minutes was too long. Did you call the officer stationed in Hinamizawa? He's scheduled to be on patrol. They're currently out and it'll be impossible to contact them. Kuma-chan, bring the car around. Understood. Hello? Oishi-san? Hello? It's alright. I can hear you loud and clear. There was something wrong with Meibata-kun. That wasn't a normal coughing sound. Vomiting? Or was it blood? Had he already been attacked or was he injured? Meibata-san, the police are on their way. Be there in a couple minutes. So hold on somehow. Hello? Can you hear me? Meibata-san! I could hear on the other end of the line that he had been having a coughing fit. The worst possible situation popped in my head. Meibata-san, who's the culprit? How many are there? I thought at first the culprit was human. Higurashi when they cry. It's like a video game book called a visual novel. I couldn't tell if it was cough or vomiting. Are you alright, Meibata-san? The human was a person and not Oyashiro-sama's curse. Up until right now, but I guess in the end. Ugh. Oh god, that's... Yeah, indeed, Gabe. Oh, that's gotta hurt. I guess that's the consequence of voice acting. It was an intense bout of coughing, then vomiting. I guess Oyashiro-sama does exist. No, he's here. Mibata-san, please, just calm down. It's like a murder mystery, D'Angelo. Once I finish, I'll get on to a tribute to Stan Lee. Yeah, indeed. I had been thinking it was strange. For a while now. It had been following me this whole time. I run and I run and I run and I run, but it just sticks to me like a shadow. But slowly, so slowly, it's digging into my back. Mibata-san, are they right now perhaps right behind you? Behind me? Right behind me? Please, Mibata-san, I can tell you're scared, but please, who is it that's right behind you? Oh God, yeah, that's what it feels like right now. I can just look behind me. If I do, I understand that you're scared, but please tell me. You just need to turn around a bit. Who is it? Who's behind you, Mibata-san? Right after I said that, I could hear him vomiting intensely. I guess that's what I'm going for as well. What followed was a nightmarish sound. Mibata-san, it couldn't be that you're clawing your own throat? There you go, Gabe. There's your answer. There's no answer. But I could hear something like scratching. There was a bang, as if something was being hit. Keiji was probably dropped the receiver. I could hear the groaning and vomiting over on the other end and a repeating abnormal noise. Hello? Hello? Mibata-san! Hello? I know far away from my voice would sound on the other end, and I couldn't help but shout. At that moment, I heard whispering coming from the other end. I couldn't tell what he was saying. From the way he was saying it, was he talking to himself? Or was he talking to someone there? Hello? Mibata-san! Rather than whispering, it was like a mantra he was chanting over and over. I focused my sense trying to pick up what he was saying. What was he repeating? What exactly? Beep! Suddenly the line went dead. Did he use up his time? It was because it was a payphone. I'm glad you do, Gabe. It was because it was cut out so abruptly. And hi, Corruption, how are you doing tonight? The last thing he said came out so clearly in my mind. Oishi-san, the car is good to go. Oishi-san, I'm sorry. Oishi-san, that's what he was repeating over and over. He said, I'm sorry. I had a gut feeling there was no longer a need to hurry. I could hear the chirp of the Higurashis spilling in the open window. Quee, 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 quee. I should have been able to hear them this entire time. And congrats on leveling up, Corruption. I just wasn't paying any attention. Why did I focus on them all of a sudden? Quee, 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 quee. I see. Well, at least taking care of a relative is always nice. Were they trying to tell me something? Only the Higurashis knew? That's how I felt. Yeah, there goes Keiji Maroon. July 1983. In Hinamizawa, a remote village near Shishibone City, there was a murder involving 2 female students. Suspect is Keiji Mibata, age 10 in his 10s. The suspect called over his 2 female classmates, Rena Ryugu, Mio, and Sonosaki, to his house and beat him to death with a metal bat. The scene of this crime was suspect to the room to the 2nd floor of his house. The inside of his room was covered with a significant quantity of splat blood, and there were signs of struggle with the victims. In addition to the scene of the crime, the entryway, living room, and kitchen had all traces of a struggle. At the entryway, the shoe rack and wall had evidence of being impacted by a strong blunt force. It is believed to have been a weapon, same bat as a murder weapon. Having no trace of blood, it is believed the destruction occurred before the murders. There's a possibility that the subject overpowered his victims to keep them from fleeing. In the living room, the rug had been pulled back, being thrown aside. It's hard to believe that this had a connection to the struggle that his victims, and thus for this reason remains unknown. In the kitchen, the garbage bag was torn apart, and its contents were spread out on the floor. Garbage was strewn about in the surrounding area. Handprints were believed to belong in the suspect were discovered. It is believed that the suspect, for some reason, taken out of the garbage and struck it with its fist. The reason for this remains unknown. In addition, there was a note to the fridge saying there was a needle written on it. The meaning behind this remains unclear. Just in this case, the garbage was searched, but the needle was not discovered. Though the garage door was functional, it had been left open ever since the suspect moved in. The garage door was found closed. The suspect fingerprints was discovered on the garage door. The reason behind this remains unknown. The suspect had fled the scene of the crime. However, patrolling officer Inamizawa local police PD have found the suspect collapsed in a phone booth. At the time of discovery, the suspect was unconscious in critical condition. He was rushed into the local hospital for treatment, but did not regain consciousness and died 24 hours later. Yep, I want candy. The result of the autopsy indicates the immediate cause of death had to have been apoplectic shock. It was determined that the suspect clawed at his own throat and fingernails, and the resulting bleeding caused his death. With a similarity to the death of Tomitake-san the prior week, the police believed to be a connection and open an investigation. However, due to the wishes of local authorities, it will be a confidential investigation. Due to the abnormal nature of the death, it was suspected that the drugs were involved, but as with Tomitake-san, no traces were discovered. What all prompted this remains inexplicable. As such, the case is being treated as such an act committed on impulse. However, with several accounts of the suspect bizarre murder leading up to an incident, it is possible that this remains premeditated. Separated from his group of friends, isolation, inexplicable behavior. Several days before the incident, the suspect began carrying around a metal bat. The suspect was observed displaying aggressive behavior as well as talking to himself at school. The classmates have actually heard portions of what he was saying. 2 days before the incident, the suspect was declared to his parents the possibility of his death. Due to the circumstances, the police had begun an investigation on the possibility that this crime was not committed on impulse, but was instead several days in advance. Afterwards, a note was found in the suspect's room that he had written himself. The note was written on 2 sheets from a B5 college rule notebook that had such been torn in half, as if trying to conceal that it was struck hidden behind a clock on the wall. The contents are as written on the appendix. Police believed to be strongly related to the incident. The police charged the line of investigation based on the possibility that the suspect was involved in some sort of incident himself. However, no clues were found, casting doubt on credibility of the note. Was this crime impulsive or premeditated? Was the situation unclear and further developments of the case has been labeled unsolved. However, the following year, suspicion arose regarding the nature of the note. The note was not written on 2 halves of B5, paper from 2 separate sheets. Thanks for cheers it, but it is originally a single sheet of B5 paper. In order to erase several lines in the middle, someone had torn them out. Judging from the size of the letter, the missing section is estimated to be 2 to 3 lines. It's highly probable that this person who eliminated the lines in question is not the suspect. In addition, judging from the traces of large quantity of cellophane tape, the person who first discovered the crime was a detective rumored to have a connection with the incident. Udo. I can't read all this with how quickly it goes. So people who are watching this on YouTube can read it. Jeez. Keiji Mibata. That's quite the logo sound. Podcast review section. Alright. Let me do that real quick. Hopefully this isn't too long. Thank you for buying Higurashi When They Cry Onikakushi, a visual novel by 7 Expansion. How was it? If you enjoyed it even a little bit, it makes me happy. If I consider the series one of my all-time favorites, I'll tell you something. Even a little bit is stretching it. That incredibly dark ending made me angry, you know. Made us angry. As I understand it, the Onikakushi chapter is supposed to be somewhat of a prologue to the entire series. Yeah, indeed! How could the prologue have such an incredibly dark ending? Yeah, but that doesn't happen sometimes. The player digging through the story is, or in order to avoid a bad ending, is the point of these types of games after all. It's still the first chapter. I'm looking forward to the next one. What happens in the next chapter? Rena, do you know? Yeah, they said the next chapter will introduce another aspect of the story. That's a strange way of putting it. What does it mean? In this chapter, they introduced the string of mysterious deaths that were happening in Hinamizawa recently, right? Next chapter will introduce some of the history of Hinamizawa. Yep, there's actually a lot more to go. With one strange event happening after another. I got totally lost. What exactly is Oyashiro-sama's curse about? Actually, what is Oyashiro-sama to begin with? They didn't even explain it much. I haven't heard much about it, but I got a bad feeling about it. It feels like it'll be another one of those scary stories where somebody gets cursed again. Tough luck, Kei-chan? What kind of curse is he gonna get hit with this time? However, I'm looking forward to see what kind of story it's going to be. Sorry for being late. My bad. Hey everybody, good work today. Same to you, huh? Where's Kei-chan? Keiichi-kun is probably already off reading the script for the next chapter. Must be hard for being the main character. Huh? That's too bad. He could have at least poked in to say hello. It's probably because he doesn't have any character arc, so... That's obvious. So he couldn't poke his head even if he wanted to. Rika-san, that's what we refer to as a personal problem. In any case, the story really was a lot of trouble, especially for Keiji-kun and Rena-chan. I see, Roscoe. How are you doing tonight? Trouble? That was the mother of all bad ends. I wonder, what was the identity of that thing that attacked Keiji-kun? Yeah, he is. My theory is that it was the work of people made to look like a curse. But at the end, Keiji made that phone call. Yeah, I also thought that the phone call was strange. At that point, Kei-chan should have been certain that the culprits were the people. That really was a strange phone call. I see, Roscoe. It almost sounded like he was being chased by a ghost or something. Just from that phone call really makes me think that it was the work of a curse after all. Since we're all here, why don't we all share our theories? Let's start with Sonosaki-san. I absolutely believe it was the people. I mean, it was a man-made incident that was just imitating the strange folklore floating around Hinamizawa. Certainly, every year on the day of the festival, for another link in the chain of mysterious death to happen certainly is suspicious. Yeah, it's Galweno's laugh. Or hyena laugh. Those so-called chain of event mysterious death is definitely somebody trying to reenact the folklore, definitely. I think it was the curse. Oops. Looking at the scene where Keiji-san went berserk in the entryway, and the last scene with the phone call, I just couldn't come to the conclusion that the person was the culprit. When you say it that way, it really wasn't the type of scene that would make you think it was an actual person. Yeah, but even then, I think it was the person who did it. Oh. The last scene and the one with the entryway, I think it might have been a delusional episode brought by, and thanks for the cheers again, Maroon, really appreciate that. Brought by a post-traumatic stress disorder. I wouldn't know what's going on anymore, even if you didn't use such complicated words. In other words, Keiichi was so scared that he was imagining things. Then what was meaning behind that scene? What exactly was the mysterious presence behind Keiji? Red herring. R-E-D-H-E-R-R-I-N-G. Mi-chan, what do you mean by a red herring? I'm literally getting... That scene from Monty Python, the Holy Grail, is popping up in my head with that with a herring. Like the old man Tomitaki-san here said, that scene was a result of Kei-chan indeed having a stress-induced delusion from being mentally cornered. To expand on that further, it was a ploy to make the player think it was a curse. Jeez, how long is this one? That's why it was a red herring. When you say it like that, but... Yeah. Well, it just means there's that possibility. In that case, the theory that Oishi-san proposed during the story that it was a conspiracy by the villagers, correct? What does that man himself have to say about that? Me? Makes you think, eh? Huh? I totally thought that Oishi-san would be behind the people explanation. During the story, I said it was definitely the work of people, but if a person was to blame, that leaves a lot of loose ends. Like what? Let's hear what the Detective Oishi-san's theory is. First of all, if a human is the culprit, then there has to be a motive. In other words, somebody has to gain something from it. So what you mean is, if it was a work of people, there would have been something gained from causing a chain of mysterious deaths. Exactly. I felt like that somebody could have benefited from the deaths of people related to the dam development, but the recent victims weren't related to that at all. First off, who benefits from killing Keiji-kun? Now I see, if you say it like that, my case is kind of weak too. I mean, none of your money was stolen. There's no way it was human culprits. But that's not everything there is to it, right? Like Michan just said, there might have been some sort of reason for them to reenact the folklore. Exactly, this wasn't a murder where you considered the typical motives. It makes me think that there was most likely some sort of ritualistic murder to reenact the bloodstained history of the village. So I'll ask the question of the hour. Who gains this reenactment? Of the hour? It's not from a simple benefit, it's more of a psychological reason. I think maybe this was an act of revenge, something native to the region. Fate was unable to be fooled from this time around. I see a member of the repressed family looking to air out an old grudge of their ancestors, something like that? I don't like that. Then what is it? It couldn't be that you're leaning towards a curse explanation, Oishi-san. That's right, that's right. The man playing the detective said so. It's decided it was a curse. If, like how Mibata-san said during the story, it was the case that Oyoshida-sama possessed Rena-san and Sonosake-san and committed those acts, that would fit the evidence the most. As much as I hate to say it. Actually, I'm of the same opinion as Oishi-san. I didn't come up with any other explanation for the normally kind Rena and Michan to start suddenly acting strange like that. Yeah, about that. It may sound strange coming from the person herself, but I think Mion did it. Yeah, indeed, Gabe. I don't get what Mi is saying. I'd like an explanation. Oh, sorry, in other words, I think this may end up being a really cruel story. Oh, wait, Michan, you don't mean... If you follow the trail of evidence to the very end, that's how it would seem. I also have my suspicions. In other words, Rena and Sonosaki both actually had those personalities to begin with and were merely deceiving Mibata-san. Am I right? I don't like that at all. This is all the curse's fault. Rena-san and Mion-san and everybody else are all kind, nice people. I think that too. I think Rena and Mion-chan are really good people at heart. I think that the story that they were possessed by something. So Rena also think that it was a curse. Then let me ask everybody who think it was a curse. There is some reason for a curse, right? I don't think there will be something indiscriminately cursing everything. Can somebody explain that? A curse is a curse. Some human logic won't get us anywhere. Satoko-chan, a personified deity is, in the end, nothing more than a creation of people. That's why their method of thinking is also understandable to humans. I see. Just look at the Greek pantheon. They cry, get angry, get jealous. Basically, they're just like humans. So what you're saying is that Oyoshida-sama is cursing people with some benefit in mind. That's an odd way of putting it, but basically yes. That's why I'm saying far from Jupiter, far from his thunder. You do have a point. Basically, it doesn't matter if it's Oyoshida-sama or the humans. It has to be a reason. There has to be a reason. But Rika, what if that reason isn't clear? I don't know. That's right, this is just the prologue. There's still a lot of stuff that has to be revealed yet. Yeah, it's hard to come up with any more theories at this point. No, I won't be satisfied until all it's made clear. Mion-san seems rather particular about this as well. We'll make it the best of what we know. Doesn't this feel interesting, like a club a little bit? Ah, yeah. If you put it that way, it does seem that interesting. Well then, let's summarize. Let's see. I think it was a curse. Tomitake-kun think it was people, right? Yeah, I'll go with it being people. I also agree with the people explanation. That's not to say I hate such fantastic things like curses. But in this particular case, this has a connection to a curse is a little weak. 2 for the people explanation then. Renaissance was on the curse side of thing, right? Yep. Tatako-san and I believe it was a curse, right? Yeah, I think it was a curse. People say that Rena and Mion were evil to begin with, are befitting of a curse. Well, I don't want people to believe that my own personality was twisted. But I have to be cool when I'm in club mode. I base my choice on emotions and regret it, you know? Well now, it doesn't really matter which side you pick, does it? Huh? Rika-chan hasn't said anything yet. What do you think? I don't think that Oyashiro-sama is a bad god. Oh, that's an interesting opinion. I don't want to worship some bad god that just curses people. I'd like a generous god more than one that curses. That's right, Rika-chan is a shrine maiden. Yep, good opinion. Then what? Rika-chan believes that it's Oyashiro-sama's curse? Do you think that the perpetrators were humans after all? We'll just go with that. Well now, that means the votes are split right down in the middle. So half of us think it was a curse and half of us think it was people. Rena-chan, just for reference, what did the test players who played the beta for their version think? Yeah, there's a lot more people who believe in the people explanation. CCC, right there. Our people, our veteran comrades are cool, collected, and very observant. And that was like back in 2001 or 2. But the beta version only finished part way through the story. And thanks for the cheers, Corruption. I really appreciate that. And congrats on becoming perma supporter. That's right. Even the people who played the beta might change their mind if they got through to the end. Yeah, I just done it, Maroon. What should we do then? That means the opinions are still split. It's no fun if we settle this. We need to be there. There'd be an odd number of judges. In other words, we need one more opinion. Ah, perfect timing then. Why don't we ask Keiji-kun himself? Let's call him. The opinion of the victim himself is very valuable. Since that's decided, it's time for the phone. Oh boy. Hello, Keiji-kun. It's Rena. Are you busy right now? Yeah, really busy. Just I thought I'd get a break because the chapter's over. It's already time for the next one. Hey, how's Keiji-chan? Busy? Yeah, he's moping. I can hear you, you know. He must be having a nice wrap-up party. I wanted to go too. You can come over for some character art. You get some character art for yourself. Oh my god. Rika, that's a secret. Sorry about that, Keiji-kun. Anyway, during the current chapter, Keiji-kun, didn't you die? We were just talking about who might be the culprit be. Basically, we're deadlocked on whether it was people or Oyashiro-sama's curse that killed you. I'm really sorry, even though you're busy reviewing the script. Keiji-kun, which do you think it was? That's obvious, isn't it? Which? Isn't it both of them? Targeted by suspicious people from the village and cursed by some strange Oyashiro-sama on top of that? It's both human and a curse. Everybody's just picking on me. So very, very pitiful. Next time I'll pat you on the head for you. In the end, opinions are still split, huh? I'll think this over again. We might have missed something. Well then, please look forward to the next release, Higurashi, When They Cry, Watanagashi. I love this series so much since 2008. I really do. And finally, my first perfect Steam achievement. Alright, that concludes my Onikakushi-hen, reading. So yeah, I guess you stay tuned, you guys. Stay while I set up for Marvel versus Marvel Ultimate Alliance in honor of Stan Lee. Rest in peace, dude. Stay tuned, you guys.